How's SIT Physio course really like? Hi guys, this is Jing Shi, founder of ALLSET, and welcome to our very first episode of our podcast. Today we are with Cheval.
Hi, I'm Cheval. I'm a third year physio undergrad student.
We have a few questions for him. Let's get into it. First question is, how do I know if physio is for me?
I think most people enter physio with the perception that I'm just here to do musculoskeletal, meaning that I'm just here to care for the bones, the muscles and ligaments. But most people don't realize that actually physio also has other specializations like neuro, which means that, for example, someone with stroke or Parkinson's disease, you need to help them rehab to their baseline function as much as possible. And then also there's the other part, which is cardiopulmonary, which deals with, let's say after a patient has surgery in the chest, then how do you help the person breathe better again, or help them to remove phlegm effectively. So I think most people go into physio not knowing this. You have to consider this and ask yourself, are you okay with doing the neuro and the cardiopulmonary side of things? If you are not okay, then you will be spending a lot of time doing clinical placement in the neuro ward or in the cardiopulmonary ward, which might make you feel like you don't belong there.
Do you have to be interested in all three topics, or somewhat interested in all three topics?
You can have one or two that you like, but the other one you must be okay with doing. You shouldn't hate the other part. So for me, I'm interested in musculoskeletal, but I'm also very open to learning more about neuro and cardiopulmonary side. Yeah. So I think that open-mindedness is what you must have in order to become a good physiotherapist.
Do you go into specific specification after year 3, or everyone has to go through the same courses?
Yeah, so in SIT we actually go through the same course, so everyone go through the same modules. There isn't really much of a specialization, but I think at the last year you can choose elective, so you can learn a little bit more in depth into cardiopulmonary physiotherapy or anatomy. So there's a little bit of specialization, but it's not much.
There are so many people applying for physiotherapy. Do I need a high GPA to earn a spot?
So from what I heard from my friends, a lot of them actually don't have a very good GPA. So there's some with just barely a 3.0 or slightly higher, or some even less than 3.0. And they actually applied for 2 to 3 years repeatedly, and then they finally got in. But then there's also the other side of the spectrum, which is low GPA, but then they make up for it with a lot of clinical attachment. So they intentionally went to become assistant physiotherapists. So from there they gain experience, and I think that's the most important thing, is you have to show the university that you are really interested in this course, and you have to show it through actions by going to attachments in a certain hospital, applying for it. But I know now during COVID it's a bit difficult, but you should still show the effort that you actually try to apply, and this is what SIT really wants to see. Yeah.
Is physio competitive?
Yes, definitely. You're competing with 100 odd or 200 students, it will definitely be competitive. So there are people coming from JC, very reputable JCs, and for me I came from Poly. So there's definitely a bit of insecurity if you want to aim for a SIT scholarship or any scholarship, you have to at least have a decent grades, right? So it definitely adds on to the pressure, knowing that some of your friends are JC who are stereotypically more hardworking or more academic. But then I feel that even if you come from Poly, you actually have an advantage because you are way more familiar with the curriculum and how things works. Yeah.
What is the failure rate for a course? Do you get to do retests until you pass, or what is the failure rate basically?
Okay, so we have theory tests and practical tests. Right? So the first time you do the test, if you get a fail, you will retest again. So if you fail that retest, the second retest, you have to remodulate. But if I'm not mistaken, from what I heard from some of my friends, is that they actually only redo that practical component. They don't actually sit through the theory.
So you kind of have to do self-learning until the...
Yes, until the next batch comes in, and then their batch are going through that module, then you join them and redo that practical component. So for the practical component, you can fail for a lot of reasons. For example, poor handling of patient, poor safety management. So safety management, if you didn't sanitize your hand, or if let's say the bed is set at too high level and then you leave the patient lying there dangling at the side of the bed, then these are safety warnings that you can fail very easily. But here the professors actually give you a safety warning, but then they will not tell you what is the warning. Yeah, so you have to go and think about it yourself on the spot during the exam. So it's very nerve-wracking. You have to find out what's wrong, and then if you cannot find out what's wrong, the professors will not give you another hint, and then you just have to wait until the time when they release the results. Then you see whether you fail or not. If you fail, then they'll give you another date for a retest. Yeah.
If you are bonded to like a healthcare scholarship, yeah, how many years is the bond, and is everyone bonded to a healthcare scholarship?
Not everybody is bonded. It's more of a choice thing, and you also need to apply for it, and only if MOH chooses you, then you will get the scholarship. Yeah. So personally, I didn't have a bond. I didn't have a healthcare scholarship. Because I feel that the bond is a little bit too long. The bond is 4 years. Yeah, so that's the minimum, regardless of whether you got the scholarship in year 1, year 2, or year 3, or year 4. I think I would want to change into a private route, a private clinic within 2 years. So the 4 years is a bit too long for me. So that's why I didn't take up a healthcare scholarship from MOH or any hospitals. Instead, I actually applied for donated scholarship and SIT scholarship.
Are these like pathways that you can choose from similar to like those in Australian universities, for example? Because I know like people go overseas to study physiotherapy as well, right?
Yeah, so there is a overseas scholarship that MOH offers, but that one has a 6-year bond. So the conditions are very similar in the sense that they do give you allowance, they also cover your school fees, but require a much longer bond, an additional of 2 years, so that's 6 years in a public hospital. Yeah, so personally, since I managed to get into a local university, so I never considered overseas university. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think that wraps up our first episode.
Yeah, sure.